And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTKA online at WTK.com. Go ahead and mute myself. I should do that ahead of time. I apologize to people, but I get to talking to Devin and I get distracted. And so
I knew you were to blame me.
I get to talking to you. I get distracted, man.
Because I'm funny. Every story I tell is funny.
Yeah, man.
But it don't even have to be a great story.
Yeah, he caught 2 games and made it back for the Michigan game. So there you are, 3 games on
and I was
over the
paying
weekend.
for it on Sunday, boy. I was, because, and then Sunday morning, you got the young go-getters coming at 9 in the morning. I was like, man.
It's fried.
Yeah, that's going to be probably the last time. Man, I woke up, my throat was hurt. I said, hold on, let me get me a COVID test. What's going on? But it's just because I remember I ain't drink no water. I just been moving, ain't drink no water. I was dehydrated like a mug. I was on my deathbed.
So
y'all almost lost your Monday morning quarterback.
So listen, I'm glad you're here. Monday morning quarterback brought to you by our friends at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll talk about this a little bit later, but you didn't sleep on your way home in the golden limo?
I did not.
You didn't? Oh man, get you some sleep.
I didn't sleep. Yeah. But that thing was ready to go. I didn't, I had my bag, I stepped outside and got in that golden limo. It wasn't gold though, but it was golden.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't gold, it was black.
Yeah,
it was good.
Game days, they're all around as we were pulling up for the countdown to kickoff. We saw the buses leaving with the team.
Super fancy.
Yeah, leaving with the team to get them over to the game. But let's get to it, Devin. Everyone wants your broad stroke.
Of course they do.
From this game. So let's get to your appraisal of the game. It's time for Devin's appraisal. Brought to you by Mark Orr at Lake Michigan Credit Union. Now, Mark Orr, mortgage loan officer at Lake Michigan Credit Union, specializes in assisting healthcare and educational professionals. You can contact Mark at mark.orr at lmcu.org. That's mark.org with 2 R's at lmcu.org to get pre-qualified. So praise this game for me, Mr. Gardner.
It was, you know how many Michigan guys are on that Bowling Green sideline?
Yeah, man.
I went and showed a game, hug all that, And I think that they came in really prepared to play against Michigan and give Michigan their best shot. And the one thing I told you last week in calling games, the thing I've learned is like in the trenches, it's not a big gap anymore, especially in the first half when you play like a MAC team versus a Big 12 team or a MAC team versus a Big 10 team or a Mountain West team because of the transfer portal. Where you're getting these big dudes that are good players, but you just don't have the depth, right? So you wear on them. By the second half, you can't really do much anymore. And I think that's a lot of what we saw on Saturday. And then JJ did not play a good game, right? Mm-hmm. So him not playing a good game, accompanied with them being not only a better football team because of transfer portal and all that, but being jacked up. I'm just telling you, Scott Loeffler got them ready to play in the big house. Mm-hmm. Scott, and I don't know if you know, and well, you know, but everybody else don't know. Scott Loeffler is a Michigan guy, right? He got Sue Campbell over there. He had his players ready to play.
Torbert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forget Torbert. I saw
Torbert. Yeah.
Steve
Morrison.
They know exactly what it's all about. So they knew how and what buttons to push for their guys to get them going. And they got pretty good players. They got some good skill players too. So, but at the end of the day, they got blown out, right? I mean, Michigan did what they were supposed to do. But, on this show, we talk about the play of the quarterback. And JJ's play just wasn't enough. And I've been in that situation where you're playing against a kind of a lesser team, right? And when we break down these interceptions, you're gonna be like, oh, it wasn't what we thought. Because when I'm on the field, I can't see nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm standing on the sideline, I can't see. All I see is interception in the red zone. I'm like, oh my goodness. He threw it right to him. And everybody, I'm sure, looked like, he threw it right. I don't know how they did on the TV with the replay or whatever, but
I haven't seen it.
It's like he threw it right to him. But it's not that. It's 100% not that. And then the next one is like, man, he threw it right to him again. And I thought it was middle safety. And I'm like, hold on now. JJ do not throw posts in the middle safety. That's not how he plays football, right? He knows that he's not deaf and blind, okay? He knows that if it's a middle safety, we're not throwing a post in the middle or just throwing it up. You know what I mean? So I see that one. I'm like, man, dang. Right? But then the next one, it's like, okay, you throw 2 picks and you pressing. And he tries to throw it to Colston Loveland, and he just throws it a little too high. It goes over Colston Loveland's head, and then into the defender. The defender made a great play. So when we get a chance to watch this film, it's going to be good to see because I know everybody wants to jump off the ledge. And I have to remind you, first of all quarterbacks have bad games all the time, right? Secondly, are you a repeat offender and are those things fixable? That's what you have to think about. Right now, if it's every single week, it's like, hey, man, just keep throwing to the other team. He's not a guy that throws to the other team. Right? He had one other game, and that was TCU, but remember when we broke it down, that's not a bad game. Like, he was the reason we lost, but he was the reason we had a chance to win. Like, he was dominant in that game, especially after they started adding him in the run game and all those different things. So you shouldn't overreact. But I empathize with somebody that's looking like, especially if you have that preconceived notion. Like, everybody always had the preconceived notion, and it's called confirmation bias, right? Where it's like, yeah, that's why K was the quarterback, because he turned it over too much. He too loose with the ball, even though he has a long line of knowledge where he threw less interceptions than K did in his year starting, right? And he had this long line of like not turning the ball over. But the second you see it, it's like, oh, thank God, I can finally confirm the things that I thought already. But it's just not the case, and that's why you come here.
Yeah, man. He's we haven't really seen him press. He didn't even press in the TCU game.
No, he stayed in. He was, which was super impressive. So we've seen him battle back from adversity in the game. So I don't think this game is anything to be worried about at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so he sat up in front of the media, and
I wonder how'd that go. I'm sure he just took responsibility because he's that guy.
He absolutely did. He took full and total accountability. He credited his teammates for trying to pick him up, but he was acknowledging, like, man, I'm supposed to be picking y'all up, kind of thing, right? Yeah. And so he was all that, no excuses. He said, even on the flea flicker, he said, man, that was an ill-advised throw. I think actually it was he said, I was going for my guy CJ. He's going to get to do with a cast on his hand.
I feel like that's one-on-one. Calculated risk.
Right,
yeah.
So
and it works out.
He explained that if anything, you just talk about the throw, but the decision was good, man. He, in this contest, was, for the first time, I felt like trying to do too much. And so after the game, after he speaks to the media, I feel him come up behind me. He was like, this is going to make me a monster. As if to say, man, I know what I did. I know how poorly I played, and I'm going to make sure I never play like that again.
And I want to take it a step further because, I mean, we're going to break down the interceptions, and obviously there are excuses and reasons. I made it clear to you, like, there are excuses for things, there are reasons, right? Your whole offense line hurt, and you can't make plays. That's a reason why you can't make plays, right? So there are some reasons why those plays are made, and it's mostly because of Bowling Green. Like, the first two interceptions, if he makes a great play, when he throws his ball, I took a screenshot of it just so we can show you. When he throws the ball to not Ronnie, I always want to call him Ronnie. No, not
Tyler Morris.
Roman. They throw the ball to was it Roman in the back of the end zone? He was trying to throw
Roman in the back of the first one back, and Roman in the back of the end zone. Yeah.
So he's trying to throw the Roman in the back of the end zone. And when he goes to throw the ball, right, we've talked about him being an anticipatory thrower, and this is where you get in trouble. But it's way more positive than negative, right? Sometimes as an anticipatory thrower, you let that ball go because you're anticipating what's going to happen, and it doesn't happen exactly how you want it to, right? And so the DB is engaged, both hands on the goal line with the tight end, both hands on the tight end. So obviously he sees Roman coming. It's like, man, I got what we want. This is exactly what we want. We wanted our tight end on the play side to make sure he holds that guy so Roman can sneak on the back of the end zone and the safety turn him loose. So he's wide open. He throws it, and the guy lets go of the tight end and jumps in front of it behind. Can't play for that. Right? He's covering him, and I thought I had what I had, didn't have it. So things like that are reasons. And now you can watch film and see, okay, will another team do this? Like, is he going to try to get here and then jump back? You have to be happy it happened against Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Because, like, now I see a new thing, like, okay, he's going to cover him and then jump off and fall into my next throw. So I thought that was very good by Bowling Green.
Yeah, we have to dig deeper into that one in the film study, because I asked Borges to go back and look at it. in advance. He said, "Man, yeah, they zoned up on the front side,
and one side was man. I was like,
and the other side was man.
Roman, so it's man on that side, the front side. Like you saying, that guy that intercepted was in man on the tight end, but on the other side they played zone and turned Roman free. And I'm just looking like, I would have threw that too. Everybody throws that, and then he jumps off of his man to make a play. I think it was a really good play by him, but.
Yeah, man.
Wait, me and Borges agree?
It's amazing.
Oh, no, because he be on some bull jump.
Yeah, Borges, he was like, that's one where I, as the play designer, would say,
be shorter. He could be shorter, or we want to take him across the field, and just get him out of that window where you throw. And obviously, JJ could have waited one more second, but he sees a guy covering another guy. He's not waiting because he thinks he might fall off, but now he's got that in his memory bank. And he didn't have one more second. He got hit while he was throwing.
Yeah, he said, or he could have the tight end kind of jerk farther.
Jerk out. Yeah, that's my favorite play, except for I usually want to dig coming behind it. But you have him stand there and then jerk out to move him a little more rather than having him right. Because, in the end zone only 10 yards. So he can be standing on the goal line and get there before you throw it. You know what I mean?
So
Dan Borges, look at that.
Yeah, he said, so the designer can help him out.
Of course.
In a way. So if you see something like that, that guy is not in as good a position to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what I've been describing as the most understandable of the interceptions. But it also, like, if you know him, JJ is he's not that dude that like, I'm that guy, or looking at that, man, I'm a Heisman Trophy. He's not that dude.
Yeah, of course.
But it felt like after that mistake, man, he was like, I'm gonna go get it back right now. That's how it felt.
So the second interception too, though. Remember, I thought it was on the field. I'm thinking like, wait, why is it a middle safety there? No, so he does a quick little move to get in. He stays in the pocket, right? And Blake Corum does an outstanding job picking up the blitz. He sees, he's like, I got man. It's cover 4 technically, but when you get vertical guys, it turns into 0 man, right? Roman Milson takes the first guy out, right? His job is to clear out. Now, he can get the ball, obviously, but his job is to clear out, right? So you check to see if he clears out. And when you think you got one-on-one outside with your wide receiver, you're like, I got one-on-one. That's exactly what I want. So he looks, sees he got what he wants, and then he checks to make sure he had space in the pocket just super quick. And then he just fires it, which that's a thing, right? I saw what I want. And then when he throws it, the DB is over the top and sprints in front of the receiver to make the play. So I think the ball was just a little bit short, but he ran in front of the receiver, and we're going to see it on the film. And I think he should throw the ball to Roman. Yeah, because it's like, I know the play design says he's taking him out, but he took him out, and Roman's so fast, right? He's supposed to be a decoy. He ran and got open, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but those are things that you continue to work through, and you'll make the play on the next opportunity. And I'm happy it happened against Bowling Green because obviously they had no chance.
This is something that I don't know, and I'm putting you on the spot, but was the guy on CJ on that play the same guy that was on CJ on the flea flicker? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I do not know. And if he was, I could see why you threw that instead because of the cast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's what I'm speculating was part of the thinking. Part of the thinking there, saying, hey, man, I got this matchup, because he certainly was thinking it later in the game on the flea flicker. Is like, man, it's ill-advised throw. I actually think it was a good decision. But he said, man, I'm going to throw it up against the dude with the cast and let him make a play. CJ was the outside guy on that play, and I wonder if he was seeing the guy with the cast on that play too. Like, man, I'm going to throw it to my dude, even if Roman is screaming across the field. I'm going to go to
No, it wasn't the guy with the cast.
It wasn't? Okay,
wait.
Well.
Hold on now. Hold on. Just pump up.
It's live radio.
I'm just making sure. Yeah. No, it wasn't the guy with the cast. It wasn't him? It wasn't.
Okay.
No.
All right. So there goes that theory.
Oh, no, we're going to make sure. We're going to get it right. It wasn't the guy with the cast.
There goes that theory.
But, you see when you got a guy taking a guy out, it's double post, and the other guy, you think you got the whole field to throw. And the DB, like I said, makes a good play. He runs around the receiver to make the play. It was a nice play by him.
Yeah, when we get into the next part, to kind of get into the psychology of it, because you make a great point that we need to reiterate. It's like criticism is warranted when you play like that, right? And he'll be the first one to say it. Like he was, I get why people are talking about I played poorly, but concern is different. If it was a pattern, if he is a habitual offender. Then you're like,
if he was a habitual line stepper, then we got issues, okay?
Right, then you got problems, but that's not him. And he's also not the type of dude to toss it away like it's nothing and like, this ain't no big deal. Josh Allen, right? This ain't no big deal.
Man.
Right? After this,
He be tripping.
come play the next game. Nah, he's the type of dude that's gonna be in there before the coaches show up in the film room to work on the play. That just knowing him, that's how he is.
Yeah, of course. And that's how you should be, right? Listen, he's not the first person to throw 3 interceptions or have a bad game. That's not like a thing, but it's only his second bad game. And how many starts is he? I mean, I don't, however many he's had, and he's played extremely well. So, like you said, you can't overreact to that, especially because there are reasons why those interceptions were thrown, and he's still a human. No matter how cerebral and all these different things he is, he's a human. And so when you turn the ball over and your defense is playing good, you're like, man, I got to help my team, man. I'm killing us, right? And you want that fire. Like, you don't want a guy that's just like, I'll just sit back in the back. You want a guy that wants to go make a play, but you just got to make sure you control that competitive fire. And, towards the end, they start just running the ball and all those different things. But I think he has control of that competitive fire. But there are times where you try to make plays. But against that third interception, right, could he have thrown it away? Absolutely. But I'm telling you, Coach Loveland's right there. And I would have threw it. Coach Loveland's a giant, right? And he threw it just a little too high, and then the DB jumped high in the mud and made the play. So,
DG,
what's up?
You would have thrown that? He was falling out of bounds and threw it back in.
And it went just like this much over. Did you see it?
I saw it.
It went this much over on TV on the internet. We can hear it went this much over Colston Loveland's hand. I'm just telling you, a competitive fire. I see a guy and I'm trying to throw the ball to him. Right? I see a guy, I'm trying to throw the ball to him, and obviously, like I said, you can throw it away. But do you want to take the stinger out of the B? Do you want to turn it down? Time out. Let me finish my statement.
But that's what I want to go to. That's what I want to go to in the next segment.
Do you want to say, don't throw to open guys anymore? Because that's not how, unless he had, like you said, a pattern, we're not turning down open guys. And Colston Loveland on this scramble is open. And is that a play that he can make?
There's a fine line between aggression and recklessness, though.
Is that a play that he can make?
That's a play he can make.
Gotcha.
But there has to be a balance here, right?
Has there been a balance?
There has been, but on that particular play, what he said in the post game was, man, I've done that same thing in practice, and I paid for it in practice. I can't do it. And I showed that I can't do it in practice. I can't do that in game.
So what happens?
Just throw it away.
So what happens when the ball is 3 inches lower and Colston Loveland makes the play? What happens then?
Well, just because
I'm just asking you. What are you saying there?
You're saying, man, that's a great play, but it was risky.
Nobody's going to say, oh, man, that's just too risky. It's going to say, dog, how did he get to that?
So if you run across the street 10 times, right, and 9 times you make it, because traffic coming, you make it 9 times. The 10th time you get hit, it's like, I should have done that. Just because you made it 9 times.
That seems ridiculous.
Just because you made it 9 times don't mean that it's not regular.
That analogy is terrible.
You're fast enough to make it across. You're fast enough to make it across traffic.
Why are you just running across the street?
To get to the other side.
All right,
but why are you continuing to do it?
Devin, I'll give you an analogy.
Thank you. That was terrible, Sam. Why would you run across the street?
If you drive 70 in a 55, 9 times out of 10, you might not get caught. But one time you're going to get a really expensive ticket.
Yeah,
we talk about things that don't really cost you that much.
But when you get that ticket, I think that is a good analogy. When you get that ticket, are you never going to drive fast again?
No, you're gonna be.
Or are you going like, I need to be a little more judicious with the way I drive fast?
That's
what I'm
gonna do because I've gotten a ticket. But guess what? I drove 80 all the way here.
That's why I gave a more costly consequence.
but how? That's an interception. That's not the end of the world.
Well, it depended on the game.
Okay, in this game, is that the end of the world?
It's your third interception, though, Devin.
Is we not counting interception in that game? Is it the end of the world?
Listen,
I can't. Was the game in jeopardy in that game?
The game was not in jeopardy.
Well, you're talking about getting hit by a car.
How you played up to that point in the game where you've thrown 2 interceptions, you need to be showing more responsibility with the football. Period.
So don't throw to open guys.
But certainly in that situation, you need to be showing more responsibility. So when you're scrambling,
just don't throw to open guys. I'm asking you.
So when you're falling out of bounds, no, you're not throwing the ball back in bounds to a guy that
so you're telling me he was out of bounds and threw the ball back in bounds.
He was falling out of bounds, throwing it back in.
Looked like he was running left and threw the ball to an open guy.
Don't even think he should have made that throw.
Well, first of all, when we're in press conferences, we're not going to take every single thing a guy says for his word, right? But you should take responsibility. Like, hey, I shouldn't do that.
So
I'm telling
okay
you right
with that
now.
decision?
I'm okay with him playing football the way. First of all, he's a guy in the arena. If he thought it was okay on that play, make the play.
Hey, man, I disagree.
You take a stinger out of a B, and now you have a game manager, and you're gonna lose.
So I don't want a game. So, and this is where the coaching comes in. This is where the coaching comes in.
Hey,
how do you maintain
be a little more, on that play? Maybe not, but it ain't always and never. It's not never throw that moving left doing that. You shouldn't say that.
So my thing is, you as a coach have to be skillful enough in the psychology of coaching to coach this dude to maintain I want you to stay aggressive.
Yeah, of course.
I want you to use your talent because you can do things that other people can't do.
Bingo.
To a point. Even Superman has his kryptonite, right? I mean, even the superhero can be slowed down or stopped in certain situations.
So what's his kryptonite?
And this is one of them.
What's his kryptonite?
That if you're running out of bounds,
no. So you're still talking
trying
about
to throw the ball away. He said I'm trying to throw it away, and it was a little too close. And I've done that in practice. Just throw it instead of making it that close. Just throw it into the 300 level. Is that what he said, Ira? Just throw it to the 300 level.
Which is in hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah. Throw that shit in the third. You know what I mean? You got to. You got throw it in the third level. Of course. But Sam, I'm telling you, when the fire is hot and you're playing football, unless he had shown, man, he always doing that. He always doing this. I'm not going to kill nobody for doing that, especially when you're trying to make a play. Now, if he's making this play, trying to do it all the time, all right, he can't do it. But
he got a break anyway.
But throw it in the third level sometimes. But if a guy is open, make the play. Crazy. What are you talking about? You acting like he's just throwing this off. Oh, just throwing willy-nilly. That's not who he is. That's not. And until he becomes that, there's no way you're going to get me to say, don't throw it to open guys where you rolling left, running out of bounds, all that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, DG. We just agree to disagree on that.
Of course we disagree, sucker.
We got to get to a break. We'll be back on the other side with more Monday Morning Quarterback here. So Gavin McLean said, Ira pay FCC fines. Write that check.
I hit the dump button.
The
stream might have heard it. The podcast might hear it, but that should not have gone over the air. There's a button with a whole bunch of I hit that button.
All right, we got to.
Wait, how do you do that?
It's like we got a delay. So we talk about a delay, and then
there you go.
He hits the button. So
but the delay is now ramping back up. So we need the break so we can have that hopefully not happen again anyway.
All right, we got to get to a break. Back on the other side here. Monday Morning Quarterback on the other side of the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, The Ticket.
Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. The Ticket. Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, where it's fairways, not freeways. Book your vacation at grandtraverseresort.com.
G, if you have questions for DG, get them ready now, and we'll get to them in the third segment. If you have questions, DG, drop them in the comment. Hey man, I'm glad I didn't bet on the Jets.
Man,
glad I didn't bet on the Jets. Man.
I thought he might do something. He's just not good.
Who's Zach Wilson?
Yeah, he all right. He just he a backup.
And the Dallas's defense is like that too.
Yeah, they are. They're good,
they
but
like that.
And also the Jets' offensive line is not very good either, so that doesn't help.
I have them in the comments now, and we will get to them in the third segment.
It rained this week. Your old roof leak.
I love guys like Ed P. So everybody been waiting for him to have a bad game.
They've
been waiting for it.
Fix that.
What did he say? I didn't see
it. P, what is it?
Do your roof
I don't
right
know.
for you too.
So
contact Diversified Roofing in the maize and blue.
Or
you don't have enough green.
I don't know.
What he was talking about?
Financing.
He's talking about JJ having a bad game
today. We'll make those leaks all
I don't know. You know who
Go
Ed P is?
DiversifiedRoofingLLC.com. Again, Diversified Roofing.
You talking about in the comments, right?
Yeah. Oh, he got it on there.
It's on the screen now.
Have I? Because it seems like I've killed guys for that.
No. I mean, look, he not giving him a pass on everything. He said he played poorly.
I led with he played terribly.
He said he played poorly, man.
I think I used the word terribly. Did I not?
Yeah.
It's a terrible game, but There are reasons, and if I'm a guy that makes plays, I'm making plays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that is a play that most guys don't make. But the thing is, we've gone through the film, and everybody's so happy because it's a bunch of plays thrown across the middle, all that stuff where guys can't make it, and it's celebration. But because he had turned the ball over some, it's like, hey, don't be yourself no more. I can't get with that. I'm not that guy. I'm not the fickle guy, right? Now, if he hadn't thrown 2 interceptions in that game and he makes that play, are we still saying the same thing? Maybe, because it's confirmation bias, because you want to believe that he's a turnover machine. That's what everybody wants to believe.
I think you have to figure out a way as his coach. Your job is to coach him to be responsible with the football and be aggressive at the same time. Well, can you do that?
But
as
Sam,
a coach?
I'm confused. Is he not been that?
He has been that.
So what are we talking? We have one game.
I'm just telling you what. Okay, so I'll tell you what Sharon said after the game. He said, "Look, in that situation, throw the football away."
Yeah. Okay.
In that situation, throw the football away. That's what his coach said about that play.
And that's all it is. And how many times do you want a quarterback to do that, right? You want them to do that. But, they do stuff. They're in the fire playing the game. So we're on the outside like, oh, no. You can't do that, man. Like, y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. That's not how it works. Unless you get in that arena and the thing, everybody's flying around you making plays, I don't want to hear that.
In New York,
I think he
looking at all of the
better of that.
For Jets
he should have thrown it. There you go. But he's going to make that play again, and it's going to work. And then we're going to be like, oh, maybe to win a game. Like, oh, my God. 4th down, and he made that play. Like,
the NFL season.
Yeah.
That's FanDuel.com/win.
Yeah, what kind of difference do you think Harbaugh being on the sideline will be?
NFL.
21
well, I think everybody gets to do their own job.
Money wager, only $10 first deposit
Right.
required. Bonus issued.
I was talking to Gus Malzahn, and he don't call plays anymore. Nobody really. I mean, people know it now, but he gave up his play calling duties. When you come to see a Gus Malzahn game, who you come to see? You come to see him call the plays.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, in this age of college football, he almost like a CEO. He said it's been too hard, and it got overwhelming of like trying to call plays and manage everything and do the NIL, all the stuff that comes along with it. Because now people think he's just calling plays on game day. No, you got to go. You got to fix everything during the week, put the game plan together, all that different stuff. And it's like during the week, you got a little bit more responsibilities as far as NIL, all those different things. So he was like, man, it's tough. And I would imagine if we talk to Sharon about it, Sharon would probably be like, man,
Coming back
it's
on
a
radio,
lot.
stand by. Back on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider, Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Monday morning, quarterback is in the building. He was an Iron Man. He was an Iron Man last week, right? You calling 2 games, flying back in time for the Michigan game, and then, still making it home so you can get to the young go-getters the next morning. To get home, you rode on Golden. And that brings us to the driving force update with Golden Limousine International at the wheel and Devin on the mic, whether on the field or riding in a Golden limo. It is always about the quality of the drive. And when I say Golden Limousine, it's not an actual limousine. That limousine is in the name, but they have a fleet of SUVs. They have
if I would have got in that limo, though, ooh.
I don't think there's a limo in the fleet anymore.
Oh,
it's just the
wait, people don't drive limos no more?
Nah, man.
Limo not a thing no more?
Not that. I mean, going to
like a stretch navigator or something like that?
Nah, they do all executive transport. Obviously,
because I'm executive is all I'm saying.
And that's why you were in the executive transport.
That's right.
Making your way home. So in this driving force update, talk to me about the psychology of you as a quarterback coming off a game like that. Because you don't want him to lose his aggression.
Yeah.
You nailed that. You also don't want him to get down on himself.
Yeah.
For one bad game.
I'm just telling you, man, a game like this makes your stomach hurt. I remember and this game wasn't nearly as bad as the one I'm about to describe for me, but it was UConn in 2013, I think it was. And I think I told you the story about how me and Boyd never talked about it because I don't want to talk to him about it, but I handcuffed him in the game because
which game?
It was UConn. Us versus UConn at UConn. The grass was terrible. Not an excuse though, but the grass was terrible. And so I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing the field well. It's not like for once, it's not bad protection. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, and I'm just not seeing it, right? And so when I'm not seeing it and doing whatever, I have a play that go to. Hey, Borges, you need to call H2 Select glance. And he already know that. I don't even know if I had to tell him. You need to call it now because I am struggling. I'm about to die out here. And because that's my go-to play. I done hit it with my eyes closed. I got before social media and stuff. We had videos, me and Gallon running it, come off of it with my eyes closed, hit it on the money. I go play action, stick that foot in the ground, and I throw it, and he's open, and I skip it off the ground. And I was demoralized. I'm just like, and I didn't tell Borges, hey, you can't call nothing right now. We just got to try to get out of this game. But he can feel and know, like, yeah, we ain't got nothing. We can't do nothing. He can't do what he, wants to do or whatever. And I don't know why it was like that, right? And the thing is, after that, I started to like kind of be careful, super careful, right? And it's just like you can't be that way because now you're not the dynamic player that you are. And that's why I'm so like heavy on like you can't be killed because you threw a ball that was kind of throwing it away, kind of didn't. You saw a guy, like, you know what I mean? Because that's how guys lose their confidence. It's like, man, I threw 3 picks. Well, we're going to outline how the first pick, it's on you because you threw it, but the guy made a great play. Mm-hmm. The next pick, it's the right idea. You know where you want to go with the ball, but the ball is just a little underthrown first, and then the DB makes a really good play, right? And the thing is, we know that he can throw, right? We know he can make every single throw on the field. So an underthrow or a throw that's not that good, those are things that can be fixed. But the psychology of I can't make a play because I'm turning the ball over, that's the thing you can't allow to happen, right? And I know that's not the case because after he had thrown that pick where I thought it was middle safety, but it wasn't. It was 0, basically, man-to-man 4, cover 4, whatever you want to call it. The next play, he comes out of play action and hits Roman Wilson right over the middle for the deep post, and it was a perfect throw, right? So it's like, okay, we are good to go. The confidence is still there. He's still playing. He's still taking chances. He's still trying to make plays. But like you said, now you go back with that stomach ache of like, we was in a dogfight a little bit with Bowling Green, and it was my fault. You know what I mean? Because that's how you look at it when you take responsibility for it. It's like we were in a dogfight with Bowling Green, and it's my fault. Remember what game was it? Akron. Remember that game? Mm-hmm. We almost lost?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And we came out just sluggish because we was just kicking it, right? We had came off with Notre Dame, or, I was just kind of like, And that kind of bled into the UConn game, I think, for me, right? It's just like, man, we can do what we want, but I'm just like, I had a speed option where, like, I pitched it a little bit late because you playing Akron, and they kind of tipped it a little bit, and and it was an interception, but still, it's a play that turns the ball over, and so you do that, and so the question is, will this happen back to back, right? Because maybe you say the Bowling Green game is my Akron game, right? Where it's just like we played terrible, whatever, but we end up winning the game because they couldn't stop us, right? When we needed a drive, we put it together, or whatever, right? Say that Bowling Green game for JJ is that. The next game, right, is where some of that was in the back of my head of I turn the ball over, I can't do it. I can't do it. You can't go out there saying I can't do it. That's like a 3-point shooter saying I can't miss. Missing should never be crossing your mind, right? And for me, like it was in my mind of like I turn the ball over, this game has to be flushed, especially since there are things that are fixable, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's
can't let it linger. And I think the coaches do a good job.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, the kind of dude that has shown that he is hyper focused on fixing mistakes. Like, that's why I say he's going to be in there first. But you want to make sure, because you could tell he was feeling responsible.
Yeah.
He was feeling responsible.
That's what you do.
And you won the game. Like you said, these are correctable. You want him to maintain the aggression. I asked Borges this question yesterday. I was like, talk me through, as a coach, your quarterback has a really, really bad game, and you want him to fix that, but you want him to be him. You want him to stay aggressive. How do you make him walk that line? He said, listen, man.
He know all about it.
He know
all about it. He know all about it.
He didn't use you as an example.
No, but he know. He know.
So you say you hamstrung him. You didn't say anything like, hey, man, help me out, coach. What did you say? How did that go?
I tried to not remember the UConn game because I feel like 98 yards or something like that. Like,
because I'm asking the question because I'm wondering how it will go for JJ. Like, and especially when you don't have your head coach out there too. I wonder if that.
Oh, you're talking about during the game?
During the game, yeah.
So the thing is like I love how big. First of all, Jonatron's were outstanding. My first time seeing the light show, all that, really good. But the thing is, after that interception, the first one, I think he could have. I think he looked at. I mean, I'm sure everybody does. You throw interceptions, you got to look the replay because you don't have the high school. They got the iPads, and in the NFL they got the pictures, and they don't have any of that stuff, right? And so you look at the thing to see, and I think he could see like, I can't believe that dude did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, okay, so it's cool, but the thing is, it's still an interception, right? No matter whose fault it is. Like, think about it. When you throw a ball, a perfect ball to your receiver, it gets tipped and it gets picked off. That's still an interception. So you feel, you don't feel as bad, right? But you feel the same way, right? You feel like, man, I didn't throw an interception, right? And then you get another, like, man, I didn't do another. You know what I mean? And so that psychology, I don't think he ever had to have the conversation of I'm struggling. Because, like I said, he was still willing it. He was still throwing good passes. He threw a nice pass to Colson Loveland up the sideline in between two defenders. Outstanding throw. And then he threw that deep post to Roman.
Back-to-back plays.
Back-to-back plays, yeah. I love the confidence for Sharon because that's after the one that I thought was middle safety. And to everybody else, it probably looked like he threw it up against middle safety the way the guy caught it as well. And for Sharon to go back and we're not gonna let that. That's like nipping in the bud right away, right? So now JJ doesn't have to explain anything or whatever. Like, I know you've thrown 2 interceptions. Here's back-to-back throws, right? And to look at those throws and to see it was no feathering of the ball. It was conviction to Colson Loveland. It was conviction to Roman Wilson, and so that's why I don't think that those things are going to be a problem. But it's a thing. Like I said, we had the Akron game. And I'm like, man, I turned ball. I mean, we won, right? And it's like, I ain't played that bad, but I turned the ball over in the red zone, similar to how you just turn the ball in the red zone. And it's like, I know I can make that pitch, right? I know I can do that, but it's still a turnover, right? And it's like, dog, we are in a dog fight with Akron because of me.
Yeah.
Even though I've made plays, I've ran touchdown, all this stuff, we still in a dog fight with Akron because of me.
Yeah, I like this conversation from the standpoint of if he finds himself in a scenario where he's pressing again. But I don't expect that. It's such an anomaly. He's from the time he was on the field as a freshman, he didn't press. Michigan State, he didn't press, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Big Ten championship game,
right.
This is not something he does.
So that's why I don't see this as pressing, right? The play that he tried to make, I see it as I flushed those interceptions. So everybody else knows I threw these interceptions, but I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm done with those interceptions. And so you make that play where you're trying to throw it away, but it's kind of a guy there or whatever. And it's just like, you're just making a play the way you would make a play if you hadn't thrown 2 interceptions. And I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Hey, know that you threw 2 interceptions. You know what I mean? But the thing is, I don't think the game was in jeopardy where it's just like, hey, you got to be super safe like that. Bowling Green never had a chance to win that game. Like, never had a chance to win that game. And as much as they were super prepared, and I love what Coach Scott Loeffler, and he'll say the same thing. Like after at that point in the game, that game was over. And the defense had gotten a beat on what they were trying to do. They were stopping them and getting turnovers, all the different things. But to your point, I think that you have to make sure, even though we believe that psychology is good, as a coach, you got to make sure, like, hey, man, when we go through the film, that's a great play by them, right? And now we got that in our memory bank. Right, that's a great play. Maybe you could have went to you. You probably could get it to Roman quicker on this one, right? Okay, he made a good play, but we didn't have to get to that. Get it to Roman right now, even though he's decoy, and let him run. You know what I mean? And then the next one's like, hey, just throw it 20 yards out of bounds. All right, chuck that thing in the stands, hit somebody in the face.
What did he say? 300 level? He either said 300 level or ocean. Anything but what he did.
Yeah, of course.
Anything but what he did was
but
what he was getting
I think he'll be fine mentally.
Yeah.
But like you said, you always got to check and make sure. And you don't want to do too much checking. Like, are you good or whatever? And because that'll get in your head of like, all right, man, why y'all keep asking me?
You just want to make sure he don't. To the point that you were making, I think is very salient. I think it's the point.
Yeah.
Don't lose your aggression.
Of course.
Let's be responsible.
You got to stay a fire to be the
Don't lose your aggression. You don't want to take that.
Because now we're Iowa.
No, you're not.
No, not close. Not quite.
No, you're not. So we're going to get to the questions for DG on the other side.
We never get to the questions.
We got to the questions last week. We're going to get to the questions again.
Oh, we did 9. Over 9.
Yeah.
We're going to get over 9 again. How much time we got?
We got enough time if we get to this break. All right.
We're going to fight in the break. We're going to fight in the break.
The driving force update with Gold Limo International. And they are outstanding. They got DG home. They got me to the game a couple weeks ago.
Safely.
They get Michigan to the game every week. That's how they get down. And so the driving force update was brought to you by Golden Limousine International. With them at the wheel and Devin on the mic, whether on the field or riding in a Golden Limousine vehicle, it is always about the quality of the drive. You can find them at goldenlimo.com. More Monday Morning Quarterback.
Sam, we got something to do this hour.
Oh, that
too.
is right. We got to get some people inside of. That is right. So if you want to join us inside the Bud Light Victor's Lounge, be caller number 7 at 734-998-1050. This is my man Jeremy Lesueur in the stream. What's up, Jay Lou? All right, we got to get to a break. Caller number 7, 734-998-1050. Again, 734-998-1050. Back on the other side here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, The Ticket.
Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. The Ticket. Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, where it's fairways, not freeways. Book your vacation at grandtraverseresort.com.
For him on the internet.
Got to do some slack.
You know I look for him on the internet.
And peace.
No, he disrespectful and I don't want to talk to him. Just get his thing. Why are we giving him airtime? Take him off.
He said you're his
Take
favorite.
him off.
He said you're his favorite.
We're done, Ed P. We're done. You don't get a second
He
chance.
said, I got a lot of emotion invested in this program and team. We
I ain't
just
trying to
signed
hear
you
it. Stop reading this thing, man. I don't want to hear that.
AP,
It's
I
garbage.
still love you, AP.
I don't.
I still love
I don't.
you. All right.
And I'm looking for you. What's his real name? Can we find
I
his real
don't
name?
know AP's real
We
name.
need to find Ed P's real name so I can block him on
AP
everything.
is emotional. We try. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to
and
do.
I am too. I want to block him on
what
everything.
we're trying to do is calm you down, AP, and tell you don't
No.
worry so much.
No, Ed P gonna get blocked
All
for
right.
sure.
You said
I love when people take personal
He
shots.
said
I love it.
I gave JJ some bad juju compared with the Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow
Actually,
been struggling. Yeah, you might have been true.
Did I give Joe Burrow some bad juju too?
Oh man,
All right.
Joe Burrow ain't healthy though. They should have never came. He shouldn't be playing right now. They making it worse. You don't get more healthy through the season.
All right. So let's steer clear of EB8403's question.
Who's that?
So if you didn't like Ed P's comment, you hate his.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Please don't put him in there.
All right. It was not a D lineman. Oh, and he's not talking about Bredesen, is he?
I think he meant a tight end because he that's what I think. I saw that comment. It was a tight end, not a D lineman.
He's one of the up guys. You want some bigger guys in there to throw you some blocks that are mobile.
I don't
enough.
watch the kick return. Why are we putting that on there?
Yeah, I'm going through some of the questions in succession.
Unless
man.
something crazy happened.
All right. Says JJ was throwing a little flat on all the picks unless I was seeing things. He was driving the ball, but just flat delivery. Did you see that at all, DG?
No, because the one pick was flat and short. The deep post, it was flat, and that's why the DB was there. But the DB was on top. We should have got to Roman on that one. But the other one was too high, right? The one on the sideline where he's throwing away, it was over the head of Loveland. And the other one, I guess you could throw it a little higher, but I don't think that helps, right? I don't think that helps. But the one rule, that is a good comment, because the one rule when you throw it on the back line is to go hairline, top of the afro, right? Throw it high. So if it's incomplete, it tips out of the end zone. But he thought he was wide open, right? Because that guy was covering him. That's right. You still use your rules, but if a guy's wide open, you're not telling him to throw it high and risk incompletion. But that's a good comment. That's a good question comment. That's a person that's sane. Who was that? Put him back up there. I want to shout him out.
He's not as emotional.
No, he had a real comment.
That's
a
what
real question.
We got to try to help the emotional people calm down.
No, Pete took personal shot, and he can't ever have his question on here again.
I guess I didn't see what he
don't even
said.
want to talk about it. It's over.
I didn't even see what he said.
He tried to take a personal shot, and he's done here at this thing.
At you?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. My
bad. Yeah, he tried, and that's why he's apologizing. Why do you think he apologizing?
Okay, what did he say?
He was saying he was trying to take a personal shot, and that's why he apologized.
Okay.
And I do not accept your apology, AP, by the way. And I would be comfortable if you never came back.
You
honestly,
spiteful human being. You
spiteful.
DJ.
It just happened just 45 seconds ago.
Just lucky it's not
Supposed
on
to let it
Twitter.
go
He would've
already?
been blocked.
Absolutely not.
Back on radio in about 20 seconds.
All right. Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't. So I will break this play down too, where he had Tyler Morris going down the sideline there.
Oh, it was a nice throw. I was right there in the back of the end zone too. It was it's a nice throw. And see that's another throw where it's like, you're not playing scared because of mistakes.
Back on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider, Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Monday morning quarterback, MMQNA is what I recall it. MMQNA.
I love
so
the question.
Let's get to some of the questions for DG. People dropped them in the stream. You can always email us if you don't actually watch live, and we'll get to some of those in the future as well. But let's start off first. Devin is not going to like this question, but I'm going to put it up anyway. Just to
Is it from Ed P?
No, it's not from Ed P.
Oh, then we're good.
Just to reiterate the point. Shadyville03 says, honestly, the INTs were reverting to some bad habits from last season. Devin, what say you?
Yeah, let's just move on to the next question. It's goofy because that's not true.
That's
right.
If
it's wrong, then why are we putting it up there? That's crazy. You're just trying to get me going.
No,
that's
I'm not trying to get you. I'm trying to
get me going because you know that's not true.
Trying to reiterate your point from earlier that this is not a habitual thing.
No, I want him to bring up the plays that of the confirmation bias. See it, right? It's like, hey, that's what I thought would happen last year, but it didn't quite happen. But now I see this. Oh yeah, it happened. You're a bully. Stop putting people up there that you know crazy.
I'm not being a bully. I'm trying to validate people asking questions. All right. Gary Klein says, should Harbaugh return the team to 40 rush attempts against Rutgers to return themselves to their run-first identity? There are only 44 snaps in the game. So
yeah, that's tough. That clock thing is really. But the thing is that this is still going to be a team that runs the ball.
Right.
But you have to understand when a defense dictates that you pass the ball, you can't just go. This is not just we're going to bully everybody. That's not how it works anymore. I'm telling you, I watched in the whole first half, Buffalo completely stifle the Wisconsin run game with one of the best backs in the country. All right, two of the best. They had a good duo. And it's because you get these guys from other schools that are really, really good players up front. And we've seen it with Colorado. Even though they're going to get better and whatever, they brought in guys that played at Power 5 schools to play in the trenches to help out. And that's what you're seeing all around the country. But it's the depth factor. Do you have the depth? And most of these teams just don't. So that's why you see most of the good teams wear on you at the end of the game. And it's just like, oh, okay, now we can just run the ball kind of at will.
All right. Cody Terrell asks, anyone feel they were pressing to get CG a TD and tighten the offense? Maybe getting the first one can alleviate that.
I don't think it's that. I don't think that's true because CJ not that guy, right? CJ's not the guy. I mean, he wants to be a part of it. Don't get me wrong. He wants to make plays, be a part of it, and he knows. And I got a chance to talk to him last year because he just wasn't getting a lot of opportunity. I'm like, man, just stay the course, and it's gonna happen for you. And if you be ready for that opportunity and not sulking and all those different things, you're gonna make the play, right? And then insert Ohio State game. It's like, oh my gosh, that's the best game you could possibly have and the best on the biggest stage. And then in this game, right, the play that he made on the flea flicker was an outstanding football play, and it's because he's still positive and he's still engaged. No matter if Roman's catching touchdown, he's catching touchdown. He's a team player, if that makes sense.
All right, here's one. I sort of see.
But JJ, one more thing. But JJ is a guy that wants to keep everybody happy. So that's not like a comment that's ridiculous. Like maybe it's not the offense trying to do it, but JJ saying, I want to get my guy involved, right? I want to give my guy a chance to make a play because he's my guy, right? And that could be a thing. But the thing is, JJ will have to have a conversation like, I was trying to, I probably shouldn't have did that. And he's like, I get it, but he got him a touchdown. So that, like you said, could alleviate some of that want to try to get everybody involved.
So I sort of agree with the premise, a part of this question. Rico says, this is good for us in the team, which I can see that. So, but I was sick of hearing our fans think they're automatically the best team that ever existed. None of this is a given. I just don't think, I don't think that the praise that they received the first couple of weeks was JJ or the team was unwarranted.
So I agree with that because Michigan fans can get pretty arrogant about their team, especially when they look the way that they had looked. You know what I mean? So I can understand. He's like, what, can we play some football games, right? We haven't played anybody, and I think that's true, right? When you haven't played a real competition or a really good team and you automatically say this is the best team ever, it does seem like kind of delusional, right? Like, wait a minute, you don't know that. But because of last year, because of the team that comes back, you're really basing it off of, wait, we should have a better team than last year. And last year we were really, 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 really good. So I understand both sides of that.
So in retrospect,
and I do think it was good.
Do you feel, I feel like it was good too. In retrospect, do you feel like JJ wasn't playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country in the first couple of weeks?
No, I don't think that. I do think he was playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Let's.
Why you always trying
I'm
to do
just
that?
trying to ask them.
He know that,
man.
guys. At home, he knows the answer to this question, but he just want to pickle me on TV or not TV, technically on radio and on. This is technically TV, you know.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
like,
So David Noe, what's up, David? He says, what was the biggest factor that led to some of the issues? You kind of touched on this a little bit. We'll get to it in the film study.
mhm.
People saying JJ didn't play well since the game was at night. I hadn't heard that
No,
one.
that's goofy.
I don't believe that. Think he was just a bit off.
Yeah, I agree with you, David. My brother's name is David, so I guess you're my brother too. But he just didn't have a good game, right? And sometimes there's no real explanation for why a guy might have a bad game. In this game, there are some explanations for some of the plays, but because it's a night game, he's played night games. So it's not because of a night game. It's because he just didn't play well, I think. Now, there was a lot of pageantry, right? The light shows and all that, but that's for mental midgets, right? Mental midgets let all that stuff bother them, and you can't focus, and there's too much going on. That's not how it works. The really good players at night, that's when they really get down, you know. So yeah.
All right. Here's one.
Here you go.
Brian
I know it's
Horner
gonna be
said,
something crazy.
I'm sorry, but I just don't think I can watch this stuff anymore if Devin and Borges are going to start agreeing on everything.
Oh, no. Let's be clear. Sometimes if I hear that Borges agrees on something I'm doing, I'm changing my thought and I'm going to find a new way because I'm not going to agree with him. But that one thing I can't believe. But I said it first, though. I said it on here. So we can say that you probably made it up and Borges is copying me. He does copy me on a lot of different things.
He did use one of your illustrations last week.
No, he did not. You didn't tell me that.
Yes, he did.
He used one of my because it was so good. He said, let me just use this one.
Nah, it was actually okay. He wanted. You don't understand how long Borges takes with his illustrations.
Yeah,
all right.
You probably suggested, hey, you want to just
I
use
did.
Devin? Hey, you want to just use Devin?
I did. I said, man, these illustrations take so long.
Listen, guys.
What's the economy of illustrations, Al?
I want to go
Come on,
home.
man.
Yeah. But just to be clear, I don't agree with nothing that Borges be talking about. Nothing.
All right, here's what.
And I'm gonna make his pointer lose battery today.
This is here's one. This is not Ed P. This is another P, JP3.
Mm.
He said, pass protection breakdowns of any concern. Easy fixes seem to be some leaks this week, including backs not chipping. What did you see there?
Yeah, so on one of the plays, they turned a guy free in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's just a mic turn.
That's the only sack of the season.
Yeah, that's the mic turn, and also it's trying to figure out is he actually coming, right? And so it was a miscommunication up front because you just don't turn a guy free in the middle of the defense. And so I didn't see so much leakage that it's a real concern. I saw the pocket really small where JJ has to navigate, but that's the thing he's worked on, right? And so I think he did a good job of navigating in a small confined area. But I mean, I guess it can always be better, right? But the one main concern is like you don't want to turn a guy free in the middle. If you're gonna turn a guy free, have him come from the outside, but you don't want to have guys running right down the middle at the quarterback.
All right, so be on the lookout for the film study. It will be riveting. It's always riveting, but it'll be especially riveting this week coming off of this game. Be on the lookout for that in a couple of days. We got the lives with Al and Vance tomorrow as well. So just keep it locked. Just subscribe to the channel. That way you always know when a new video is coming. Till the next time, folks, thanks for watching another Monday Morning Quarterback with Devin Gardner. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Michigan Insider.